Hello everybody, it's Carl and Erynn here. Got a little bit of mandolin picking coming your way with Turkey and the Pea Patch from Buddy Thomas, Kentucky fiddler. And Erynn's going to back us up on the old harmony guitar.
Yep.
And we'll explore some of the backup with two-string chords too. So I think we'll have a lot of fun here. Turkey and the Pea Patch in the key of D. Here we go. Beautiful ending there. We ended in the Pea Patch, I think. Thank you, Erynn. Wonderful.
My pleasure.
Having you back me up there. So I'll move in a little closer there and we'll explore the melody and the backup there. So let me get over here in the center spot where we can see a little better maybe. So like I say, we're in the key of D. And the first thing I think I'll talk about is just doing the chords for a second, because the first part we're going to kind of try to copy what the guitar video will have, and the banjo too, because it's always good to think about the backup on any instrument you play, if you can, even on the fiddle there. It's great to know what chords are happening and when they're occurring. So in this tune, if I just did some open chords first, just to show you where the chords happen, it's just a D chord, and you notice that melody, da, da, D, a D chord, and it goes to an A, and it has a wait, A back to D. That's the first part, D chord, A, and A back to D. So it has that split measure at the end, you know, A, 2, 3, 4, A, and a D. Okay, first part, and I'll give you some two-string chords to work on there too, but the second part is going to have some G activity there. So it's going to be, the second part has that more scaly, you know, it has a lot of scale activity there. So it's going to be a D chord in the start of the second part. It's just a D chord, D, 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 then it goes from D to G, split measure A. Then you have a D and a G and A, D. So it has the same ending as the first part, that, you know, 4 beats of A and a split measure A to D. So let me just tell you, so I'll do that one more time before I get a little more detail on the backup. So second part, da 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 da, G, A, and I'll just play it one time. Well, I'll tell you what I think I'll do. I'll come around to the chords after we do the melody a little bit, so you'll get that melody in your head a little bit. So the first part starts out with a nice little, and what I might do is slides and stuff more as I get to playing it in the little demo there, but scoot up here a little closer. So the first part has a little 4th fret to 5th fret on the 3rd string. Could be a hammer or a slide. Then that A string, or up to the 7th fret on the 3rd string. That's the first little phrase, a little 4 to 5 on the D string or the 3rd string, and then the A, open 2nd or 7th fret on the same string, and the 4th fret. So let's just try that a few times. That's the start of the first part. So you can do a hammer or you could slide. Or you can even go up way up down to that 7th fret, the unison. So, and something I'm going to say about the tab and the mandolin I write out, a lot of times I might have a tied note, like the fiddle will go, they wait, and you might pick, when you have a tied, you can get off on the mandolin and you can pick the notes that are even tied. But here's the first 2 measures. 1, 2, 3. You wait. So the second little phrase is that open 2nd string in the 2nd fret, back open, down to that 5, 4. So I'm going to do those measures together. 1, 2, go. Wait. Okay, one more time. 1, 2, go. Wait. Good. And now the next phrase is going to work the lower strings. You're going to get into a stretch in that 6th fret on the bass string. So it's going to be open in 4. That's still kind of a D sound. Then we're going to go to thinking about a bar on the low strings. You might have an A chord there, 2 and 2, but we're going to have to get 2 on the 3rd string, and the 4th fret climbs up first, and then back to 2. Then you go low, 6, 2. So let me just do that a few times. Let's just find that, because that's going to come up a bunch. 2, 4, 2 on the 3rd string, 6, 2. And it goes back up, and up to a kind of an interesting note, 6th fret there. So I'm going to do that phrase together, kind of the A phrase where it gets back to D with the lead in. So I'm going to do that whole first half of the first part. 1, 2, 3, nice and slow. D sounds, and you wait. Little D scale. And you start down to the A arpeggio, back to the D sound. One more time, slower. 1, 2, 3. Wait, 4 again. 2nd string, down to 5, 4. Open 4, 2, 4, 2, 6, 2, 6, 2, 6. And that same phrase. And it has that open. Then you're going to be back in the same territory with that wait, exactly, with the wait, exactly the same, but this time it goes, adds a little more note in there. Try that one time. 4 or 5 on the 3rd string, 2nd string open, back to that 4th fret. And all these things are just sequences, you know. If you practice scales at all on different instruments, you can make up different patterns and just try to follow them up or down a scale. So that might be something you try if you haven't done that. So from there, that with the extra note, you're back to that. But this time it goes to the 4 instead of that haunting 6th fret note. And you have an ending phrase, open 4, 2, 4. So try that ending phrase on the 3rd string, which is your D string. Open 4, 2, 4, open. So that last little A phrase is going to be 2, 4, 2 on the 3rd string. Then you stretch that 6, 2, 6 on the bass, back to 2, 4, ending phrase. Right? So the whole first part, that's the first ending, and I think it's pretty much the second ending the same, except it's going to lead into that higher, little more scaly second part. So here's the whole first part of Turkey in the Pea Patch. 1, 2, 3. Wait, low string, 2nd and the 3rd string, and the same phrase again. Just a little more note. Ending phrase, repeat. Haunting note. A few more notes and ending phrases coming up. That's cool. We'll come back to that now. Then it's going to get into a little climb there to the second part on the last beat. Open 4 on the 2nd string, and it gets you into some nice scale passages here where you're going to be outlining kind of the 5th fret, 2nd string, and the 2nd fret, 1st string with your 3rd and 1st finger. So try to find that and think about those 5th and 2nd frets kind of featured performers there. And you're doing scale passages there. And you'll hear a lot of that in a lot of tunes. That's a very popular kind of sequence. So here's that first phrase with the lead in open 4 coming out of that first part. It starts the second part. Climbing up, falling down, climbing up. So kind of think of it as a topography or geography where you're climbing up and falling down there. One more time. 1, 2, 3. Start of the second part. And I'm just picking down, up, picking the whole time because we're just tick-tocking the whole way. Tick is down and tock will be up. Then it gets into a little back and forth with 5 and 4. Then you have and you're getting back to square one there. So listen to that phrase a few times. That little back and forth on the second string, 5, 4, 5. Then the second fret. That's kind of the phrase there. So I'll break it into 2 beat phrases. There's the first phrase, second phrase, third phrase, fourth, starting over. So let me do that with the first phrase we did. 1, 2, 3. Climbing up, falling down and going up. And starting over. Climbing up. This time it has a pause. And you're going to get into similar maneuvers you did in the first part. Open 4, down to that low 6, 2, 6, 2, 6. Ending phrase the same. So that. And something I'm doing there, I use my little finger a lot of times instead of the third finger. I use my third finger too, but I'm just doing that because some people's hands, everybody's hands are different. If that third finger stretched to the 6th fret, so a little bit too much, just stretch down. Try to get your little finger down there. And you could even use your third finger, a little bit of bearing weight on that. But try it both ways. Third finger or little finger. It's a little harder for the little finger at first, but it's good to have an agile pinky. So we'll work on that. So the same ending on both parts. So all I need to mention on the second part is the second time around, it does, instead of this bouncier, they will have a little pause. They go almost the same. They do a little pause and they go right down the scale. So 2 on the third and then 6, 4, 2, and that bounce back and forth. And let's just try this little arpeggio one time because that comes up in both parts. 2 in the bass, stretch that 6th fret with the third or little finger, and straight across to the 2nd fret. That's just an A arpeggio. Just being able to go back and forth with that, those 3 notes. Low, middle, high of an A chord. Ending phrase. So the whole second part one more time. Think of these 4-note phrases. And you wait, and the lead. Starting over, second part. And the second ending is so let's just go ahead and let me just show you what I did on the chord backup. I did these 2-string chords and it gets into shapes, and we haven't worked on that before. If you've been checking out Patreon, you've definitely heard them from me a little bit. But I'm starting out on the 7th and 5th fret. I'm just doing D sounds, and I'll just play it for you so you can practice with the tab that you can, and take it slow. I'll go through it kind of just expediently here, so don't feel like you got to get it right now, but I want you to hear it, and I'll get up kind of close so you can see it. So here's what I've got. Instead of just doing one D shape, you know, and the open chords are great. Just doing the open chords, I did it to start, would be great too. So don't feel like you got to do it this way, but it's just another way, and it'll sound different. So here's what I've got. Where there's melodies, I've got. Then I go low. Then I go A sounds. first part, and I'd repeat that. But you can hear we're doing some descending shapes there. The bass is kind of climbing down different forms of A. So I call that a short reach and a small slant and a middle reach and a bar or a straight shape, a long reach, short, and a D. Second part, I just start on that unison, 7 in the bass and open, and I go and climb. Then a little unison in the middle, 7 and open, and then I go 7 and 5. I scoot down to 5 and 2. That's a G chord and bar and A. Then regular old D, finger at different G. Then I climb up in the bass again, straight 6 and 7. So I'll do that second part one more time there. Here we go, just so you can hear it. Get some nice textures, right? Now I just went open chord. Okay, so that's just a little harder in a way, but once you get used to those shapes, it gets easier, and you have a lot more variety in your backup sound. So, Turkey in the Pea Patch. I'll play the whole thing one last time, and we'll let you wrangle with it and just have fun with it. Hope you enjoy it. So here it is, both parts. 1, 2, 3. Second part. Repeat, second part. Second ending coming up. You might have a tag, which you can make up, and a nice way to do a tag is just you could do this ending lick again, or so kind of link the pieces of your tune you've already done together, and you might have a nice ending. But I think you have a lot of fun with Turkey in the Pea Patch, and just the key of D is a great key, as I'm sure you already know. So pick your mandolin often, and thanks a bunch.